Urbanization refers to the changes in the proportion of the population of a nation living in urban areas, and urbanism refers to the social patterns and behaviors associated with living cities. Urbanization refers to the proportion of persons living in urban places, while urbanism refers to the social, psychological aspects or ways of life found in cities.
Burgess' growth hypothesis states that city growth is not random, but a consequence of ecological factors, and suggests that industrial cities grow from the central business land. This hypothesis identifies and defines growth in different zones. For example, Eastover in Jackson and Richland Ward 6 are both in a Zone 4, which is a zone of better residences in the outer city zone of the great middle class, small business owners, professional people, sales workers, and those holding white-collar jobs. However, in the 1920s, this zone was changing from a community of single-family houses to one of apartment buildings. That is, there was an invasion of new land use patterns.
The compositional theory suggests that cities are composed of not just one urban way of life, but rather a wide variety of lifestyles. We will be discussing two different but similar neighborhoods and comparing various factors within each. We will be presenting on Ridgeland, Ward 6, and Eastover in Jackson, Mississippi. James B. Yellowly of South Carolina purchased the Ridgeland area in 1853 and established a community known as Yellowly's Crossing, and later named it Jessamine for his wife. In 1865, the Illinois Central Railroad station was known as Yellowly Switch and was the highest point on the Illinois Central between Memphis and New Orleans. In 1896, Edward M. Trinkle and Gordon W. Nichols, Chicago realtors, purchased the area for Mr. Yellowly and formed the Highland Colony Company for the purpose of bringing northern settlers to the area. Trinkle and Nichols laid out a town site, which they named Ridgeland. The families arrived, and soon the truck farming industry was booming with strawberries and pears as two of the main crops. Between 1896 and 1908, Ridgeland boasted a fine three-story hotel, a sawmill, a canning company, and churches. The main business section was on Jackson Street, which was partially destroyed by fire in 1901. The Illinois Central Railroad station was located in the Jackson Street area. A two-room school was constructed on the present site of the water tower in 1910. The Ridgeland schools were consolidated with the Madison schools in 1925. The 1960 census reported 875 residents, and in 1961, the Ridgeland was predicted to grow more than any other area in the Madison County for the next 20 years. That prediction was right on target. By 1980, the population was 5,000. In 1984, the largest mall in the state, North Park, opened. During the 80s, Ridgeland continued on a steady growth pattern, and the 90s brought the Highland Colony Parkway and many new businesses to the area. Now one of the fastest-growing cities in Mississippi, Ridgeland is home to over 21,000 citizens. Ridgeland is located literally across the street from Jackson, the capital of Mississippi. There are over 1,400 clean, comfortable, and well-appointed hotel rooms for your convenience, as well as more than 130 of the finest restaurants in the state. Hundreds of realtors offer every conceivable item for your shopping pleasure, and area attractions and festivals abound. For the purpose of the presentation, we will be focusing on specifically Ward 6 of Ridgeland. And then if you get in your car and drive 6.5 miles, or 16 minutes, you arrive at Eastover, Jackson.
The next place we'll be discussing and comparing to Ward 6 of Richland is Eastover in Jackson, Mississippi. In 1948, Catherine and Leland Speed decided to build a new home on the land that is now Eastover. Mr. Frank Ford, an architect with the firm of Ford and White in Jackson, Mississippi, did the land plan as well as the design of their home. The original plan had been to simply run a single road from Ridgewood Road to where Meadowbrook and Eastover Drive intersect. Mr. Ford persuaded him to raise his sights and go to Houston, Texas, and take a look at River Oaks, the highest-end residential development in Houston. There, they visited with Mr. Hugh Porter, the developer of River Oaks, and he shared his insights as to what to do and not to do. Eastover's original covenants were virtually identical to River Oaks. Construction started in 1949 on the First Street, Eastover Drive, and on the First Lake. Lot sales at first were brisk until 1950, when the war broke out in Korea. Sales stopped cold. Memories of World War II, when there was no new home construction, were still fresh in people's minds. In fact, sales didn't really pick up until the summer of 1954 and stayed strong from there. The plan, as executed, was to continue to open new sections as the market absorbed the then developed lots. This continued through 1950s, 60s, and 70s and resulted in over 400 lots in some 38 sections. In Richland, the racial makeup of the city is 77.5% white, 18.4% African American, and 1.55% of the population is Hispanic or Latino of any race. In Eastover, 89.4% of the population is white, 9.2% of the population is black, and 1.4% of the population is Hispanic. Very similar to the population makeup of Richland.
Now let's take a minute to discuss the different houses found in Ridgeland Ward 6 and Eastover. Houses in Ridgeland are well kept up, and the yards are well kept as well. Houses tend to be more compact, and some have cute little designs. Some of the houses are in gated neighborhoods. Houses in Eastover are also very well kept up, and the yards are kept up as well. The houses in Eastover tend to be really large. Houses in Eastover tend to have lots of large landscaping, lakes, and plenty of greenery.
In Richland, there are not a lot of sidewalks in the main city area. However, there are some sidewalks within the neighborhoods. People tend to walk outside on the sidewalks a lot within their neighborhoods. It's rare, however, to see people walking on the side of the road in the more city-like area. Also in Richland, the roads are very well kept up, and frequently there's construction to maintain these roads. In the Eastover area, there are few sidewalks, so people tend to walk on the street. However, it's very likely to find people walking and jogging on the streets of the Eastover area. The roads of the Eastover area, however, are not very well kept. There are potholes in different areas of the Eastover roads, which is an inconvenience to some of the residents in this neighborhood compared to residents in Richland.
In Ridgeland, people tend to park in parking lots or in designated housing parking. There are not many places for people to park on the street, but there is public parking at public facilities such as stores or businesses. This may make it difficult for residents to invite company over. In Eastover, people tend to park in their own driveway or home designated parking, just like in Ward 6 of Ridgeland, but there is not a lot of available parking on the street, but there is public parking at public facilities such as stores and businesses.
In Ward 6 of Richland, there are no parks. There are a couple parks nearby, such as the Friendship Park, which is in Ward 4 of Richland, right off Lake Harbor and close to Ward 6. Some of the neighborhoods in Ward 6 of Richland have small park-like areas. In Eastover, there are few parks. There is the Jamie Fowler Ballpark. This park is not very well kept. There are lots of trees, however, there are not any playgrounds in the area or many places for people to lounge or hang out. There is the Smith Wills Stadium in the Eastover area. This is a large stadium where a lot of baseball games are hosted in the city of Jackson. Also, there's the River Hills Club, which is a private club. The River Hills Club is a very nice club with tennis courts, pool, and restaurants and activities for people who are members. Many of the Eastover residents are members of the River Hills Club. There are no museums in Ward 6 of Richland. In the Eastover, there are several museums, which include the Mississippi Agricultural and Forestry Museum, the Mississippi Sports Hall of Fame, and there are other public facilities in this area, including the Mississippi Library Commission and the Mississippi Public Broadcasting.
There are no schools in Ward 6 of Ridgeland. However, Ridgeland is in the Madison County School District. Public schools in Ridgeland include Highland Elementary, Old Town Middle, and Smith Elementary, and there are private schools in Ridgeland as well, which include St. Andrews, Veritas, and Christ Covenant School. In the Eastover, there are several schools, which include Casey Elementary School, Mississippi School for the Blind, and Mississippi School for the Deaf, and Mississippi Community College Board. And there are also private schools nearby, but they are not in the Eastover area.
The education level for the population in Richland of 25 years and older is 93% have a high school degree or higher, 50% have a bachelor's degree or higher, 22% has a graduate degree or professional degree, and 3.1% are unemployed. Also, the population of Richland has a mean travel time to work of 17.2 minutes. The education level in the Eastover for the population of 25 years and older, 94.5% have a high school or higher, 43.6% have a bachelor's degree or higher, 23.5% have a graduate degree or professional degree, and 2.6% are unemployed. The mean time for travel to work or commuting is 20.4 minutes. Both the commute time and the educational level of the population of Richland and Eastover are similar.
The average income for Ridgeland and Eastover is higher than the state average, which is $40,593. The median income in Ridgeland is estimated to be $59,860, and the average income in Eastover is even higher at $72,244. Crime in Ridgeland and in Eastover is overall less than the U.S. average. In Ridgeland, there are 2.68 police officers for every 1,000 residents. In Eastover, there are only 2.41 officers per 1,000 residents. However, residents in the Eastover area reported that they have their own community patrol.
There are several notable people who lived in Richland. We could not determine exact addresses to know if any of these individuals lived in Ward 6. However, we know that Faith Hill, the country singer, lived in Richland for a while. 3 family members of the country band, the band Perry, were all born and raised in Richland, Mississippi. And David H. Nutt, lawyer and philanthropist, and the richest person in Mississippi as of 2014, lived in Richland. In Eastover, Leland Speed was a well-known business leader who founded the Eastover community. Mr. Leland Speed served as the executive director of the Mississippi Development Authority since 2015. Mr. Speed was also the chief executive officer and president of the Eastover Properties until 1996. Mississippi College Library is named after Leland Speed. Governor of Mississippi Haley Reeves Barber said that Leland Speed is one of the state's most outstanding business leaders and that he came into government from the private sector so that he could be of service to the people, and that he has done a fabulous job as an executive director of the Mississippi Development Authority. At the Eastover area, the district has been developed where New developings of lofts, businesses, and high-end stores are being built. This construction has not been finished, however.
You look great.
Thank you.
What do you like about your neighborhood?
There's hardly any trees, so you don't have to pick up all the leaves and sticks.
Okay. Anything else you like about your neighborhood?
It's small.
Is there anything you would change?
The houses are too close together.
Okay. So houses are too close?
Uh-huh.
Why did you choose to live here?
Schools and because of the school. Oh man, I can't think of what else.
Okay. So the schools?
Yeah, the schools.
Is your family from here?
No, we're originally from Alabama.
Okay. Does your family live around here though?
Yes.
Okay. How safe do you feel living here?
On like a scale of 1 to 10?
Sure.
10, being safe. Yeah.
Really safe?
Uh-huh.
How would you describe your neighborhood using 3 words?
A figure 8. Is that?
A figure 8?
Yeah.
What about 3 different words? So like clean, fun.
Okay, clean, small, and fun.
Okay, clean, small, and fun.
Uh-huh.
Are people in your neighborhood accepting?
Yes.
How so?
They're all friendly. They come out and talk to you.
Okay. What are some problems you have had living in this neighborhood?
The parking probably is one thing. We have limited parking, so we have to park on the side of the house. They don't like that. So.
Okay, so in your neighborhood specifically, you have to park on the side of the
Well,
house.
no, they have driveways and garages, but if you have more than a couple of people, then you have to find extra room. So.
Okay, so when you have extra cars.
Yes, correct.
How often do you use public recreational facilities? Or are there any?
Talking about like ballparks, stuff like that, soccer fields. Every once in a while. Yeah.
Are there any around here?
Yeah, Freedom Ridge. There's Strawberry Patch Park. There's a couple of Freedom. Or what else? Liberty. Yeah, Liberty.
Okay.
Mm.
Do you use public transportation?
Uber every once in a while.
All right. What public services do you use? Or do you use any?
No, not really. No.
What location do you work in? So.
What location?
Yeah. So you're here at Planet
Fitness Richland.
Right.
Woo woo.
Do you have any other jobs?
I do at SCP. It's a wholesale distribution of swimming pool products.
Oh, cool. Is that in the area as well?
It's actually in Rankin County.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you very much. Anything else you'd like to say about Ridgeland?
It's a fun, eco-friendly place. So that's about it.
All right. Hi, Kate.
Hi.
What do you like about your neighborhood?
I like many things about my neighborhood. Like we have a neighborhood pool, so I like that. Why are you laughing at me?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay. You should know, you also live there. We have a neighborhood pool. I like the design of the little houses. I think they're cute. And I like that we live really close to the reservoir, so I can walk there.
The reservoir.
Yeah.
What would you change about your neighborhood?
I think I would like for it to have, it doesn't really have any sidewalks, so I would like if it had more sidewalks because I like to walk around and walk my dog, so some sidewalks or some walking trails, something like that.
Do you usually walk outside anyway, even though there aren't sidewalks?
Yes.
Why did you choose to live here?
I wanted to live more in the suburb areas, even though it would be more of a drive to Jackson for things. I liked more of the community environment, being close to a Kroger, and I liked that it was close to the water there, and I thought that it was a nice and safe community that I chose.
Oh, well, that was my next question. How safe do you feel here?
I feel really safe. I haven't had any problems in the area that I've lived in the Ridgeland area. I've also lived like right behind where my house is, and it's always been a really safe area. I felt even walking outside at night, and so I think it's safe.
How would you describe your neighborhood using just 3 words?
Okay. Cozy. Let's see.
What's the word for like fun? Okay.
Fun.
Cozy, pretty, and fun.
Okay. Are people in your neighborhood usually accepting?
I'm not really sure. People kind of keep to themselves, I think. I do see, like, whenever I pass by neighbors, they have like a friendly smile, but other than that, like, I haven't really engaged with my neighbors very much. So overall, people seem to be accepting, but I wouldn't really know from having conversations with people.
Okay. So what are some problems you have had living in the neighborhood, or have you had any?
I don't really think so. It does have the like community rules, so those sorts of things, like by the homeowners association. So I've had, because I rent there, so I've had problems about making sure that my pool pass is up to date, or installing like a dish onto the house or things like that. But those are the only problems I can think of. There's never been any problems with safety or anything like that. There's some problems with like the roads staying nice. There's like cracks in the roads, and sometimes they're doing repairs, and that's sometimes a nuisance.
Do you use public transportation?
Not really. Sometimes I've used Uber in the area, but otherwise I think it would be difficult to try to use like a bus system or something. I wouldn't even know where to go to get that.
What location do you work in?
In the Jackson area. So I have to commute, like, takes about 15 to 20 minutes.
All right. Anything else you'd like to add about your neighborhood?
No, I think it's a really great place to live, and it's very beautiful to be able to come to this anytime you want.
Can you tell me some things about your neighborhood?
It's really nice. It's really pretty with all these trees, and I like because it has all these lakes where you can do fun stuff like fish is what I'm about to do. So I like it's fun.
Great. Would you change anything?
No, it's honestly I just really like it here. It's awesome.
How long have you guys been living here?
Been living here for like 8 years now.
I've been living here for 12.
Okay. Is there anything you don't like?
Not really. I honestly just love it here.
So you guys go out fishing and going on your
Yes, ma'am.
little cart? Okay.
There's a bunch of woods back there. We're like riding around back there. So yeah, it's fun.
Awesome. Do you guys feel safe?
I think it's really safe. That's really cool. We got the Eastern Patrol over here, and they do a really good job.
There's a patrol?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Like a neighborhood patrol?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, all right. Cool. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Can you tell me about your neighborhood?
My neighborhood. I grew up over here, actually diagonally across the street. It's great because it's kind of in the middle of everything. We lived in Dinsmore for about 10 years. Loved it because it was a close neighborhood, but it was a long way from everything. And here it's about 5 to 10 minutes from everything. And we like our neighbors and
Do you feel safe?
very safe, yeah.
What are 3 words you would use to describe your neighborhood?
Friendly. How do I describe it? It's a constant, I was thinking like joggers, runners, walkers, everything. I do a ton of yard work, so I speak to dozens of people that walk by and run by every day. It's a very busy neighborhood. 3 things. I can't even think. It's very community-like, I guess. A lot of people, we get together as streets and that kind of thing.
Do you know your neighbors?
Yes.
Okay. Do you guys watch over for each other?
Pretty much. I mean, you kind of know everyone's comings and goings, and we keep tabs on each other and tell each other when we're not going to be here or what's going on.
Is there any important people who live in your neighborhood?
I'm sure there are. I don't know. I mean, like I said, I've grown up here and just know a lot of different people, variety of people.
Okay.
So it's just
Anything you would change?
Well, I'm a little bit. People have different concerns. Mine is I'd prefer not. I know some people kind of want it gated. I'd prefer not to have it gated. When I grew up here, there were no fences, no anything. And of course now we even have a fence because we have a big dog, and with leash laws you gotta keep them contained. But I kind of like the fact that it's open and in the middle of everything. I mean, we grew up riding our bikes.
So
and
other people
everything.
want to get it
Some people
gated.
do. There have been some shootings in the neighborhood, kind of thing, but that goes on kind of everywhere. But
Do you feel safe in general?
I really do. I mean,
How
like,
common are these shootings?
I mean, there've only been a couple, but you know, I guess it's the fact that it's been a couple everyone in the whole neighborhood knows
Right.
every detail, because it's kind of a rare thing
Yeah.
for over here. Let's see. Oh, I don't know. Ask me a question.
What do you love about your neighborhood?
I guess it's just because I'm out here all the time and people going back and forth, walking and running and everything. People stop to talk or ask me what in the world I'm doing now in my yard and that kind of thing. Like I said, I grew up over there and never thought we'd move.
So you're an Eastover baby.
Yeah, Eastover baby. So my parents moved there from there a few years ago, and we ended up moving here and completely redoing. And it's kind of neat to see there's so many people that grew up in the neighborhood that have moved back with their own families.
Right.
So that makes it kind of fun. So.
Great.
For all those times you stood by me, for all the truth that you made